Sean Mason from the University of Adelaide. We've been working on a project looking at potassium and sulphur tests through the More Profit from Crop Nutrition initiative. Our role was to look at old technology, old tests. So for sulphur we're looking at MCPS, KCL, which is the most common test used as commercial soil testing labs. We had some new technology that we could test out. DGT is a new test that's come on board for phosphorous. We've adapted it to have the ability to measure sulphur. So we looked at that. We also looked at the performance of calcium chloride as an old traditional test. For potassium, we could again assess DGT modified for potassium, along with performance with exchangeable potassium, which is quite common, and the most common soil test for potassium was Colwell K. We obtained soils from each growing region, northern, western and southern, basically 5 each from each region, and tested a response of wheat and canola to applications of potassium and sulphur, and then related that response to the soil test values that we got. Key outcomes was that for sulphur, the mineralisation factor was quite important. We could actually determine that through a new technology, mid-infrared technology. So we could predict the actual mineralisation factor, which is important for in-season supply of sulphur in some regions. So we think this technology could be quite important in the future. As performance of overall tests, the MCP test, the more traditional test before KCL, performed the best. We got really high correlations with both wheat and canola response. KCL and DGTS performed similarly, got moderate correlations, but they weren't as good as the MCP. So our outcome for the sulphur work was for future field trials to actually assess the MCP test along with the KCL test to see if there's any divergence in performance, and also to build the database for MCP, as the Better Fertiliser Decisions interrogator does need more input for MCPS. In terms of potassium, nothing relatively new. DGT-K performed ordinary with respects to relative yield. The best performed soil test over wheat and canola was exchangeable K, which was slightly better than Colwell K. So hopefully growers have got confidence that the exchangeable K method that they're using is adequate for determining potassium deficiency. So hopefully we can get a grip of potassium and hopefully sulphur deficiency if there's any out there in these regions. Our project's tied along with other projects that have looked at sampling depth, so we can. Our recommendation is that we actually look at sampling beyond the 10 centimetres, particularly for potassium and sulphur, as the plants can definitely tap into sulphur and potassium reserves below this 10 centimetres, which will give you possibly an identification of a site that's deficient, but you're not going to get that response due to these lower deposits of potassium and sulphur. That was our main conclusions.